Okay. So we did a big push over the weekend to try and get a whole bunch of new things finally in. Unfortunately, it's not quite there, which is why all the links that I posted today go to monitoring staging, not monitoring. But hopefully, like these should all be on production later this week, like Wednesday night or Thursday night. But for now, if you want to play with them, they're on staging. So the three things I kind of wanted to show, we looked at this a little bit a couple weeks ago. Let me share my screen. All right, can everybody see my screen? Cool. All right, so we looked at this basically a couple weeks ago, kind of a complex page and rendering it more nicely. Since then, it's gotten better. So hopefully, like this is much more straightforward to see, like a page with some really complex changes. But another thing that a whole bunch of you asked for, and that we've kind of dilly-dallied on, that I wanted to finally get in, is this diff of outgoing links. So if you hit outgoing links, you can see every link that's on the page. And they're sorted alphabetically, and you can see whether they've changed. There's a whole lot on this page because earlier in the year, they changed all links that used to go to whatever protocol you're at. So if you're viewing the page on HTTP, they'd go to HTTP whatever. And if you're viewing on HTTPS, they go to HTTPS whatever. And they migrated a whole bunch of stuff on EPA or on CDC earlier this year to HTTPS, so everything just points specifically to HTTPS, so that makes this thing look kind of noisy. But if we went to like a much more recent change, yeah, you'd see that like no links have changed basically since August. But another good page to look at that on. So this page that we were just looking at a little bit earlier, like everything looks mostly the same from November to now. But if you look at the outgoing links, like this helps you dig through like stuff that's buried in menus. You can see that this mission statement link was removed, and the special envoy link was removed pretty easily. And it'll also highlight whether the URL that the link went to changed. So hopefully this is helpful, like allows you to really quickly see what's changed in terms of the links. Andrew?
On the rendered version, it didn't look like the special envoy text was showing up in red. I just wanted to check if that's a bug that you know of, or did I just misunderstand what was going on?
So is that one of the links that changed?
Yeah, you can even see it there. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's, I was thinking maybe there's a crosstalk bug. Like it makes sense to me for the text to show up in red if the text was removed, and then the link to be a separate thing.
Yeah, it should be. So the fact that it's not, that would be a bug. Okay. So that is one worth taking some time to look at before we get this merged in later this week. But hopefully what you see in this view should become a lot more clear. And then the other one that we have is now you can also look at all the highlighted changes kind of in line. So sorry, there's no changes over that time period. Someone changed in October. So now you can see everything in a single view. So you can look at highlighted rendered, which is all of it together, or side-by-side rendered, which is the removals on one side and the additions on the other. So those are kind of the big things. So you can now see just a list of links. You can see everything merged together, or you can see it side-by-side, and the side-by-side is much more cleaned up and accurate in general. And it's not peppered with like link URLs all over the place that screw up the layout and everything else. Yeah, those are the main things, and hopefully we'll have that on the production domain later this week, probably, like I said, Wednesday night or Thursday night. And the last thing I wanted to mention is if people are interested, I'll make sure the spreadsheets tonight go out with links that go to this either instead of or instead of some column in the spreadsheets. But that's up to you or up to Toli. But in absence of that, if you want to try and get to this from the spreadsheet, the thing you can do, Google Docs doesn't. So if you're looking at one of your spreadsheets and you look at this unique ID column, and oh, come on. Okay. You come back here and you go to monitoring-staging or just monitoring.envirodata.gov.org/version, and then you drop that giant long string of text in there. Well, it will always work if you go to monitoring. Staging doesn't have all the same data monitoring does. Monitoring, ooh, that is, did I get the right one? Oh, it didn't copy the same thing. Google Docs is obscenely slow on my machine. Copy. There, no. Well, you get the idea. Try this one more time. Okay, well, you get the idea. If Google Docs actually loaded and let me copy text, which seems obscene that's too hard, you can go to monitoring.envirodata.gov.org, the same as you would look at the UI, and then type in /version/ and then the string of text there, and that would take you to the same view as normal. So that's the more complicated way if you know how to type in all the right stuff to get there. But hopefully once people are interested in looking at it more, we'll get those as actual links in the spreadsheet, so you can just click on it. Oh, and one other thing I should note in there is, let's go back. So when you're looking at these, if you're having trouble, like if this diff isn't working very well for you, or if you just want to compare it to what's in Versionista, there's a little link here now that says view this diff in Versionista, and it'll tell you which Versionista account it came from. So you can just click this and go to Versionista. I am logged into the wrong account right now, but that would take you to the same diff view with the same two versions in Versionista. What you will see sometimes, if there's enough versions of a page, there's not enough versions of this page, but if Versionista is not tracking a version anymore because it only stores up to 50, and some pages we have a lot more data, it'll say that up here. It'll say it can't give you a link because one of these versions is no longer present in Versionista. So actually if we went to look at, probably E already has a lot of versions, yeah. So if we tried to compare to February or something, yeah, it'll say version from February 1st is no longer in Versionista, so you won't be able to click the link. But if it's in Versionista, it'll give you a link to go look at it in Versionista. Notably, the same reason that we don't have, for some of these, if you're not on staging, we should pretty much always have content, but sometimes you'll see raw content not available. Because when we finally did start tracking this stuff in March or April, there was a few pages that Versionista had already thrown away that we don't have. But for most things, we have all the content that Versionista ever did, because when Versionista has it and we pull out the metadata, we also pull out the raw page data. So we can show more stuff than Versionista can because Versionista throws it away. But sometimes you'll see this and it'll say raw content is not available, which means for whatever reason we weren't able to get it. Andrew?
Yeah, I guess we could think about throwing those out of the drop down if we don't have them anymore, or putting them, whatever. That's something we can deal with later.
Yeah.
The only thing I was going to say is totally noted. If you go back to your first tab, maybe a similar problem to the one I had mentioned. Looks like related publications is also removed. Maybe again on the sidebar. Maybe again because the link was completely removed. It's not like maybe stuff that's showing up on the outgoing link as removed. Outgoing link page is removed, isn't showing up here as removed. But the text on the sidebar for related publications is not in red, even though it's not on the right.
Oh, it is on the right. The thing they added is this like open close button didn't used to be there in October. Cool. Sorry, like this is the trouble. Like this is why the links view is helpful. Because it exposes everything and you don't have to figure out how to click on like all the navigation links all over the place.
Yeah.
I guess the more general question is, what is a good way for feedback? And I guess I'll defer to Ray to kind of orchestrate that. And I know that I have failed on some of my obligations there. But now that it's kind of getting opened up to more of the analysts, it'd be great to kind of have even if it's like I looked at 5 pages while I was monitoring and like wanted to give some notes about whether things are good or bad, might just be good to have a little template. I don't know.
Okay,
sure. I can organize that. Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, if you have some good ideas for that, Ray, great. Otherwise, I'm not like we haven't gotten a whole lot of feedback yet, so I don't know if there's like we know enough to tell you how to template your feedback.
Yeah, even just free form, like a box of like this, just blob of text might be a good start.
Well,
I'll make a folder and we can keep it all collected, and people can analysts who look at it can drop their notes in it, and then I'll collate everything and circulate it with the rest of the team.
Okay. I mean, I think it would just be really helpful if people just put it in Slack.
Sure.
That's been working well so far for people to bug me about getting stuff in here from, IA and whatnot.
Yeah, we have that's a good point too. We have the UI channel too, so.
Yeah. So that's it, I think.
Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks so much, Rob.
It looks good. I mean, maybe there's bugs, but it looks like it has improved, which is exciting.
Yeah. And
it's a real thing.
Honestly, it's a real thing, and honestly looks like it's going to be doing better stuff than Versionista. It's already doing better stuff than Versionista in some ways, and